I want to hit one of your not pet peeves, but the World Cup.
Yeah.
I've not been a huge consumer of it. I've watched the U.S. games, and I've had the odd game on here or there. I have noticed Fox's coverage getting bashed in publications, getting bashed on social media, and getting bashed just in my conversations with you. Have they gotten any better?
Not really. They to me, their philosophy, which is to kind of appeal to a broader audience, hasn't worked. But even on the particulars, the easy stuff, at the end of the group stage, the way it works is that you have two games going simultaneous. You're a group of four in each group, and you have two games going simultaneous. And why it's such a nice setup is because in general, almost in all occasions, both games matter in some degree for some point. So a simple thing like not having the other score on the scoreboard is something that they didn't do, right? Just again, you don't have to have it as big, but look at what CBS does during March Madness with all the scores up at the same time. There's things you could do that wouldn't affect the view that much. It doesn't have to be big. They also did a really poor job, and this incredibly poor job. They're broadcasters in terms of the beauty of the last day of the group stage is that each goal means something, right? If the U.S. scores, okay, it means something against Iran. What needs to happen? They didn't overall. I'm just using that example. I'm not kind of John Strong and Stuart Holden did that game. I'm not saying them, but just in general, they did not do a good enough job of like that's the tension, and they just those type of little things. And then on the pregame show, besides the fact there's a advertisement for Qatari tourism, like literally 2 to 3 minutes each pregame show, where they had Alexei Lawless and Stuart Holden doing some. I'm sure they were thrilled about having to do that. About horses in Qatar. Besides that, I get it. They kind of look at it like they do their their Fox NFL Sunday. It's a little bit more of a broader audience, laughing, having fun, not getting into minutia. But the soccer audience in the middle of the day, mostly weekdays, the people who are tuning in for this are people who are interested in it. And I just don't think they fundamentally understand who that audience is. And even if they have data that says, well, there's a lot of people who aren't interested in soccer, that still doesn't mean you can't tell the stories better and tell me tactical things and make it digestible. There's a way, like Marv Albert was great at this in his career. He would say things very uniquely, but if you didn't know basketball, he would his terminology, you'd be able to understand it. And that, I mean, obviously Marv's one of the greats of all time, but that's what Fox is lacking, that nuance where you're appealing to the really person who's into it and also make it understandable for someone who maybe is not. It's hard, but they're not doing a good job at it at all.
All right, so let me defend Fox for a second. TV ratings. These ratings are through the roof for all the games. So people that generally, if you're a casual fan and you're upset with how people are presenting it, you're turning it off. That doesn't appear to be happening.
If you're a casual fan, you're saying you're turning it off.
Okay, if you're a rabid fan, you're watching no matter what, right? Or you're going to Telemundo.
It's the World Cup, though. You're acting as if this is like La Liga, which is a great league, but that's more of a niche. This is the World Cup. People are interested in this for a variety of reasons. They're interested because of the soccer. That's number one, of course. But people have, I'm French, right? So I'm a little more interested in the French team. There are people, there's national pride or where your family's from. If you're, where they immigrated from to the States, that means something. So I think it's more than just soccer. It's like the Olympics, which shouldn't be presented like the Olympics. That would be something else I would say. They like to try to make it like they're doing the Olympics. Soccer is not like that in this country.
Did you just drop something on me? You're French?
I have come here to defeat you. Well, welcome to America, amigo.
Are people that say Andrew Marchand, they're pronouncing your name correctly?
Yeah, I mean, look, my grandmother lived in France. I mean, I got the French blood. I think most people know Marchand.
Marchand. It should be Andrew Marchand.
Say Marchand.
All right.
Andre Marchand. There is a sports media podcast in France. Media de Sport.
We are the #1 sports media podcast on the Côte d'Azur, I'm sure.
And so, what was my point? I had a point. Oh, I don't know what my point. What was my point?
I'm sorry. I just fixated on the. That's the first time I knew about the French blood in you.
Well, in French, Marchand means merchant. So I'm trying to sell this pod.